All right, y'all. Welcome to Twilight's Podcasting. My name is Nuru, and here we got a special guest. Can you introduce yourself, please, sir?
My name is Mad Ronald. I'm OG Mad Ronald, man.
All right, yes, sir. Uh, can you tell me how it was like growing up in California, like being a part of the 20s?
Well, from my perspective, my experiences, man, I got a whole. It's much different than I've been in a couple of different places and seen what it was like in those places. And from my perspective, it's somewhat of a historical aspect because of the fact that I've seen the evolution of a lot of this stuff from practically the first and second generations. I'm a third generation member actually, but at the same time, you know what I mean. I'm a little too old to be calling myself a gang banger or a gang member or anything of that nature. You know what I mean. I'm actually more involved in the community. You know what I mean. And somewhat the reasons I do these podcasts is for the sense of for the sake of education and information. But growing up, what I'm gonna say is that when I was growing up in West Adams, it was we started when my at my peers we were I'm gonna say adolescents, and at the same time what really drove us was the fact that the gang existed. I'll say the urban subculture. I don't like to use the word gang. That's a whole nother element right there. But the urban
Yeah.
subculture did exist, but upon its existence there was not structure. There was how do I want to put that, man? There was unity among us. There was unity. There was
Yeah.
because see in those times. See, I've been from the set, man. I became a member in 1976.
Oh God.
Yeah, I became a member in 1976, man. You know what I mean? So I was a little boy. We owned a home. It was me, my father bought a home in the neighborhood, and I got three brothers. So the way we heard we were, man. The whole community was cohesive to us because of the fact that everybody latched on to at least one of us. We were tight with
Mhm.
everybody, so everybody was at our house. Before that, man, I remember back in like '76. I'm gonna say in around '76. I remember being a little boy, and I remember coming out the house. And one of the things what got me out of the house, and it's funny, man, because I grew up in the era as a child when funk was real big. Like Parliament Funkadelic,
Mhm.
Bootsy Collins, all that there. I grew up in that era right in the era then when I was a kid, right? And all I wanted to do was stay out late, go to house parties, and go to the skate ring. I was in elementary school. I was like third grade. But this
Yeah.
is what all the older kids did, and this is what the cool kids did. So I found myself to the point to where I'm going out to the parties, I'm going out to the skating ring, I'm doing what I'm doing. Because the skating ring used to be on Arlington and Washington. Right now, you hear everybody talk about the World on Wheels in Los Angeles, but the big skating ring back in those days, it was on Washington and Arlington. And that was a space
Mhm.
where it was occupied by the Rolling 20s and the Black Pea Stones. It sat in Black Pea Stone territory. But
Mhm.
considering that we have a familial bond with them, a lot of us are family. A lot of us and a lot of the Blackstones are family. We used to all be there. We all went to Mount Vernon Junior High. Then I went to 24th Street Elementary School with a lot of them. So I find myself going to the skating ring. I find myself going to house parties, and I'm going with the older group because, like I said, I'm like 8 years old at this time. So
Mhm.
take into consideration, I'm going with the junior high school kids. I'm going with the guys in junior high and high school at this time. So this was the gang. This was my generation of the gang because the first generation and the second generation were much older than me. Like saying that right now, I got homeboys that are shit will be in their 70s right now,
Oh God.
founding members. You know what I mean? So these generations, I'm right now, man. I'm going on 59 myself.
Hmm.
So we got the founding members. They would be shit, man, far beyond senior citizens. But at the same time, when I was going to parties and I was going to the skating ring, the group that I was running with, this was like the third generation of. I was actually really young back, much younger than all of them. But at the same time, everybody, this is who I'll be walking back to the neighborhood with. See, because initially, from my understanding and perspective of what the neighborhood came about when it was founded, the Crips had already been, they were establishing somewhat. Because my neighborhood came out in 1970. They say
Oh.
The Crips were formed in 1969. But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, there were older guys from our community. Like I say, guys that was older, much older, that were the founding members. Then initially, you had what was the predecessors to our hood. Our hood came from a social group called Blood Alley. So Blood
Mm.
Alley started in 1950 and 1955. And
Oh.
Blood Alley existed all the way up until around 1970, maybe into the early 1970s, because of the fact that we were evolving and we were just kids to them. You know what I mean? But the last generation of Blood Alley was the first generation of the neighborhood and of the other group that was existing between was Hoover family. And Blood
Mm.
Alley was the found was the that was the parent group to them groups. So at the same time, as I grew and as I got older, it was like I was acclimated to this. And I always tell people I wasn't initiated, I was indoctrinated because I believed in it.
Mm.
I was acclimated to this here. I was a kid growing up around them. I didn't become a gang member by way of, fear or how to say choice of force and all that. I didn't become a gang member like that. I became a gang member because I believed in it. My first violent experience as a gang member actually took place. My first experience with violence took place
Oh.
1978. I was 11 years old, and I got beat up by some grown men, Crips, OG Crips, some real OG Godfather Harlem Crips, and I was like 11 years old at that time. And this was something that shaped the being that I was as Mad Ronald, because before this, like I say, I was going. It was about staying out late, going to the house parties, and you know what I mean, going to the skating rink. Now it became all about the violence and the get back and making the moves, and you know what I mean. Because I'm growing now. I'm 11 and this happens. So you could imagine by the time I'm 13, you know what I mean. There was a whole nother world, because at that point too, also Los Angeles was evolving, and as the evolution of Los Angeles took place, we seeing weaponry coming in. By the time, and I'm gonna say by 1982, 83, when the government started flooding the streets of LA with crack cocaine, well, with cocaine, they started manufacturing the crack in Los Angeles. But when the government started to flood the streets of LA with cocaine and guns to finance the war that was taking place in South America between the Sandinistas and the Contras, things got really turned up. And when I say things got really turned up, I mean that we went from, I remember when they had the zip guns. I remember when the shooting, somebody get hit in the leg. I remember going to a party and the baddest dude in the house might have had a single shot 22. If he had a six shooter, they talked about him for the next 6 months.
Oh, shit.
To where that got turned up so tough that suddenly now by 1983, 1980. Well, I went to camp in 1983 for a gang related shooting. I did 13 months as a juvenile,
Oh.
but that was a gang related shooting. I was identified, and I was said to be identified as a gunman and a shooter in the shooting. But
Mm.
when I came back in 1984, the world had changed so much because everything had turned up. See, when I came back in 1984, everybody was out there having money. They had cars, they had guns. When I left, we was struggling. You know what I mean? The typical group when I left, let us just say the typical hood in LA, Man, I'm gonna say that they probably had in a night, you probably had they probably was generating a couple $1,000s, out doing robberies or whatever they was doing. Might,
Damn.
might have had somebody that was selling a little bit of weed or something, or selling sherm. But let us just say, for instance, between the whole entire hood back in them days, to generate, say, between your whole hood, maybe 5,000 a night was a big deal, right? Because you got to understand,
Mm.
we talking about before the crime. I'm talking about before the cocaine hit. I'm talking about when we was young, and back in them days, by 18 years old, everybody phased out. A lot of people phased out because of the fact that by 18 years old, if you was in high school, you had to get a job. 9 times out of 10, you probably done got your girlfriend pregnant, or you working on getting married and making a family or something of that nature. You know what I mean? People was going to the army. People was going wherever they was going. The parents started putting them out the house when they turned 18 years old. But the thing about that was that this is when I always talk about the career gang member, because of the fact that what had taken place, what was taking place was the fact that now it was the inception of the career gang member. See, before you get out of prison, you leave the hood. You might leave the hood. You might not never come back because of the fact that now you can't see no reason for yourself to be here. But when
Mm.
but when cocaine hit, now the gang member come to the hood. The homie might give you 9 ounces, put you in the spot. Now you can go to the spot with 9 ounces. You looking at this, bam, 9 ounces. I might be able to flip this, and I might be able to make maybe $2,000, $2,500 an ounce. I got 9 of them. I might be
Good
able to set
God.
the spot on fire. I might be able to flip all of this in one night.
Oh, good God.
So I might have practically $30,000 in one night off 9 ounces because of the fact that the prices were a lot higher back then. So
Good God.
now, who want to get a job? Nobody want to work. Everybody trying to be in the streets and get their money. So now we're getting to this phase here. Like I just said before, that before I left, a hood might have been generating maybe a couple $1,000s a night if somebody was selling weed, or maybe somebody had PCP or whatever they were selling. But when the crack hit, now you're looking at you coming into the hood. You might have a homie in your hood that's selling keys, and he might be
Mm.
pushing keys in there like $25,000 a key, and God knows how many keys he moving. Then at the same time, he putting the homeboys down in the hood. So now you got homeboys out here that's getting money too, to the point to where now,
Mhm.
I come now you look at a hood in LA, comparing it what I was talking about earlier before the crack hit. Now you're looking at a hood, man, and the hood might actually be generating shit. The hood might be generating $1 million a night, 250,000 a night. Ain't no telling, because of the fact that by the membership, and then with something else that happened was that the gang membership exploded because
Mm.
everybody want to make some money. So now
Mm.
open their drug markets. When they open their drug markets started to take place, the gang violence started to escalate
Mhm.
because now you got people outside on the corner. There was curb serving. We used to be on the corner selling crack. If you didn't have a spot, you'd be on the block. One thing you learned on the block, you learned salesmanship. You learned a great deal about business on the block because of the fact that you got to understand how to be on the block with 25 of the homeboys, 30 of the homies. You see you see somebody turn the corner and they got maybe 40, $50. They looking for a specific individual. And
Mhm.
30 more of them down there that got the same thing you got, but you got to convince them to buy your product instead of the person they're looking for. And you got to be good, and you got to be talking because you talking on your feet because they looking. You see what I'm saying? So
What?
this escalation fed into the gang lifestyle because now they were financing the gang life with the drugs. At the same
Mm.
time, also the U.S. government was dropping them guns in the hood because remember what I just said. The cocaine was coming from the government.
Mhm.
You know that, right?
Yeah. Yep.
You put it. You know it's all over. You know it's in all the movies now. You know you look at Snowfall.
Mhm.
What's that one with Tom Cruise, Made in America? You know,
Mhm.
they talking about it now because it really happened. You know what I mean? At the same time, you know that Gary Webb from the San Jose Mercury out in Northern California, you know, he broke the story. It's in the movie Kill the Messenger. And
I
they
haven't
talk
seen
about
it. Huh.
it's in the movie Kill the Messenger, how they were pushing the dope into Los Angeles. Because
Yeah.
Reagan and Bush was financed. Ronald Reagan, you gotta understand something. Uh in America, I want to say let us say in the day in the let's say in the era in early in the 70s and maybe the era before the 80s going back, right? The worst enemy to the US, like now you might look and see like how they vilified the Muslims. They make the Muslims an enemy, like Iran and all that there, right?
Hmm.
The worst enemies to the US back in them days was communists. They
Oh,
hated communism. There was always this thing where they said that the communists were going to invade, they were going to take over, they were going to come in and this and this. I don't know, Russia, China, whoever, right? But right, there's always been there's always been tension of some sorts. So
mhm.
let us look at fast forward to Central America. Central America is right on the other side of Mexico. El Salvador, Guatemala,
Mhm.
Belize, all those countries back over there, right? The Sandinistas were communists. They were funded by communist Cuba. Now you think about how close that is. That's probably far as from Los Angeles to Texas, if we're going in the other direction.
Mm.
Because the Mexican border is 2 hours from Los Angeles.
What? No, I never knew that.
The Mexican border is 2 hours south. San Diego is the Mexican border is on the other side of San Diego.
What? I never knew. I never knew that. That's crazy.
So you can imagine how close that Central America actually is to California
Yeah. Yep.
or to the United States. So they funded the Sandinistas. Excuse me. They funded the Contras against the Sandinistas. The Sandinistas were funded by Communist Cuba.
Mm.
Congress did not want to fund the war that Ronald Reagan was pushing.
Mm.
So he found a way to finance that war by way of covertly having the CIA to push drugs into Los Angeles and taking the drug profits and funding that war.
Mm.
Yeah, it's interesting because of the fact that if you think about it, right, and you really, really think about it, man, the government, some cold characters in that government, man. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
but now at the same time, though, as we transcend and look at this, this funding of all this here, this was also what escalated the gang violence. I always tell people that the LA gang situation, the conflict in Los Angeles, and there's several of them because there's no one conflict. Just
Hmm.
because there's Bloods and Crips, that don't mean it's just the Bloods and the Crips. Because in some instances, very seldomly will you hear Bloods and Bloods, but there have been blood and blood on blood conflict and blood on blood violence. That right there sometimes, a lot of times, gets mediated because as a community, somebody knows some of everybody. And we all know
Hmm.
some of everybody. We all know some of everybody's people. So you see what I'm saying? We all know some of everybody's people. Like for instance, I know homies from everywhere, all over the
Mm.
city, everywhere. I don't have to know that person, but I can reach that person probably in 3 phone calls because of the fact that I know if I don't know somebody, I can go to one of my people that know somebody. We've all been in prison together. We all,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, been around. We all been around together.
Hmm.
So you know what I'm saying. But at the same time, see, it's not just blood on Crip violence. It's Crip on Crip violence, and that's really heavy in Los Angeles. Crips fight each other more than they fight Bloods in Los Angeles. So,
What? Yeah.
well, in Los Angeles, you got like this here. You got to think you got the neighborhood Crips, which that's a let us say like if we was talking about actual political war, like on the national scale, there were blocks And I don't mean a block like a street. I mean there was the communist block, like Russia, not USSR, because Russia had a whole bunch of states.
Mm-hmm.
China, whatever other communist countries were with them. Just like you had the Western Bloc, you had the Western, the Allies. You had the United States, England, the British, the UK, and all.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like that in Los Angeles, because in LA you got the neighborhood Crips, and they're a big party of people. They're a big party of gangs, a consolidation of gangs. You got the Hoovers. They're a big consolidation of gangs. You got the East Coast. They're a big consolidation. East Coast Crips. They're a big consolidation of gangs. You got the Bloods. That's another consolidation of gangs. Then you got whatever else going on.
Mm-hmm.
But all of these different groups exist, and they politicize in their own politics. See what I'm saying? So now, as I transcend and continue, the way things actually went was that when the government started to agitate the situation, it got worse because they made sure we had weapons. Because if you take into consideration the fact that the government made sure the drugs got to the streets of LA, they made sure their product got to among the gangs. The gangs became workforces. See, we didn't know that then. We didn't know the damage we were doing, and we didn't know the harm that we were committing. See what I'm saying? I'm one guilty of it. I was in the streets selling dope myself when I was young. Been to prison a couple times for selling drugs. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, we did not have an understanding that this was coming from the U.S. government. As I'm older now, I look back and I see so much, and I recognize the fact that, see, something to understand and something that I myself personally recognize and recollect now when I'm riding around L.A., right?
Mm-hmm.
And I have to acknowledge it. I don't know about anywhere else at this point in time because I haven't been out of LA in a while. But the one thing that I have to acknowledge is that black people are under attack. See, the chemical dependency of the cocaine created the crack baby. The crack baby, you remember, do you remember when it was crack babies? When they was talking about the crack baby?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Remember when they was taking them from the parents, they was born shaking, they was born shaking and stuff like that there, and if a baby had crack in the system, that they would take the baby from the parents.
Yep.
Okay, now interesting thing. If the crack baby back was first born in the 80s. So now let us transcend to 2026. The crack baby got grandkids now. The crack baby was born with all kind of biological, neurological disorders due to the fact that a parent was addicted to crack cocaine. The government knew this because think about this here. They do studies on everything, anything that they move. For them to know that the drug was addictive, they had to know the side effects.
Yep.
I don't care if they did it on lab rats. I don't care if they did it on horses. They had to do some kind of studies. You see what I'm saying? There was no demand for cocaine before it arrived. But now, if we look at nowadays.
Yeah, the Watts rise, right?
Huh?
The Watts rise, right? Am I correct?
No, the Watts rise was 1965.
Oh, shit.
That was 1965. But if we look, and from the time when the crack baby was born, back in the 1980s, in the early 1980s, and transcend to now, the crack baby got grandkids. These neurological and biological disorders have been passed down. This being predisposed to drug addiction is now genetic and hereditary. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Grandma smoking crack way back in 1983. And my great grandma being smoking crack in 1983. Grandpa being born and he was born a crack baby. He was born shaking. He was born with the neurological and biological disorders. It's 2026. He's 43 years old right now. 9 times out of 10, he got a kid that's probably about maybe 23.
20, yep.
Born messed up, probably mental health. You know what I mean? Because also within that situation, we take into consideration the fact that what they did in the schools was they started putting the kids on Ritalin because of the ADD. But a lot of the ADD kids were born
Yeah.
to crack addicted parents.
Yep. Yep. I heard about that too.
Okay, so now in 2026, now we got this mental health crisis. Now we got this homeless crisis going on. Now drug addiction is off the charts. But this all stems from the United States government when the Republicans were in office back in the early 1980s. You see what I'm saying? This is all, you know what I mean? And they knew this. In Los Angeles, when I moved to the 20s my family moved there around 1975, 74. 74, 75, they moved there. We owned a home. From that time until now, when I moved to my community, when I was a little boy, I remember I lived in Sugar Hill. The part of the 20s I live in is called Sugar Hill. I lived in an area where all of the old black entertainers lived at. Johnny Watson lived down there. That whole region, I'm talking about that area of town. The houses are like mini mansions in some spaces. I mean, when I used to go to school, I used to walk past Marvin Gaye's house going to school.
What?
Real talk. I'm talking about the house he died in. The house he died in. I used to walk past his house, going to school.
Wow.
Sugar Ray Robinson used to live down there. Johnny Guitar Watson lived down there. A lot of old entertainers. You got to understand this too. I come from a community that come from about maybe 5 miles south of Hollywood.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
I come from a community about 5 miles. You can get on the bus, the Western bus. You can catch the bus in my hood on Western and Adams. You catch the Western bus going north and ride that bus for about 30 minutes. The public transportation, the Metropolitan Transportation Authority bus, which we used to call the RTD back in the days. But you can ride that bus for 30 minutes going north on Western Avenue, catch it on Western and Adams, and you will reach Western Avenue and Hollywood Boulevard.
What? Oh my God!
You can see the Hollywood sign from my hood. You know that big Hollywood sign everybody talks about?
Yeah.
You can see that from my hood.
Oh my God!
Real talk. And this is why this is why I say, you know what I mean? This is the community that I come from, right? So it's like now when I look up, I see where when I was a kid, the black people had all the businesses. Because there is no black community inside Los Angeles. There is no black community. There's no black community in LA. And I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why I say there's no black community in LA. There's no black community because there's no space. Like when I was a kid growing up, when I lived in West Adams, black people owned 85% of the real estate, I would say. And black people owned maybe 75% of the businesses. See, you understand what I mean? We were heavily invested in the community. We owned the community. See, now watch this. I don't call the black community a place where there's a bunch of black people that's renting and the property is owned by Caucasians or some Jewish people or some other people of other races. Because gentrification has already proven the fact that all you got to do is just raise the cost of living, raise the rent, and everybody got to go. And you'll change the whole color demographic and the color scheme of the residents. You see what I'm saying? But from crack, now we fast forward once again from the 1980s to 2026. Looking at things from then till now, in this day and age, right now, black people probably own somewhere in the area of about maybe 7% of the property down there.
Oh God! So
in Los Angeles is that way because of the fact that once again, this was an attack by the government. They knew this. This area of town, the area of town I come from the University of Southern California is right across the street. USC, right across the street. I grew up playing on USC. I grew up on the USC campus. All my life I've been running through there. So you got to understand, when you're in LA, the 20s and the Fruitown Brims, our communities border the USC campus. You can go from the University Garden housing projects where the Fruitown Brims are at, walk right across the street on Vermont and Jefferson, and the sign is going to say, you got a big old sign that says University of Southern California. It's so close that the Fruitown Brim housing project is called University Gardens.
What?
Real talk. That's how close it is. So imagine now, we got USC. You know what USC? It was real dangerous when we was growing up. It was a lot of hot spots. It was a lot of shooting. USC came in, and you know what they did? And they got money. USC started buying up the real estate. The problem spots, USC come in and they'll buy that. They might offer the property owners much more than the property is valued at. Buy you out. Boom. Now they're gonna make this a boarding house for the students. See what I'm saying? USC come in, they start putting up the cameras, they start putting up the lights, they start putting the security on the corners. The community start changing. You see what I'm saying? But also that makes the cost of living go up. So now people have food, right? So now from the crack epidemic, what you had a lot of black people, that families that came from the South in the 1940s after World War II that bought a lot of real estate. When they came in, okay, they had what was called restrictive covenant. Restrictive covenant actually was a situation where blacks could not buy real estate in certain areas. Like blacks couldn't buy real estate in white areas. You see what I'm saying? That was a law. Restrictive covenant. Some of the main people that spearheaded that, now that spearheaded the movement and got restrictive covenant struck down was Hattie McDaniel, Lena Horne, Tom Bradley. Hattie McDaniel, the first black person to get an Academy Award. Horne was a singer. Tom Bradley was a former mayor and I think he might have been a former police chief here. Do you know who Hattie McDaniel is?
No, sir.
Have you ever seen the movie Gone with the Wind?
Yeah.
You ever seen The Black Maid?
Oh, it's been a long time since I seen it, but
I'm just saying, you remember there was a black maid? You remember there was a black maid in that movie?
Yeah.
That's Hattie McDaniel.
What?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look that up. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look that up too. Yep.
That's Hattie McDaniel. Hattie McDaniel lived in West Adams. She was one of the people that she led that movement to have the restrictive covenant laws struck down so that black people could buy real estate on that side of town.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, real talk. That's real talk right there. Real history right there.
That is crazy.
This is in the neighborhood I come from. So what happened when they did that was white flight. See, watch this one. My hood, remember I told you my hood is 5 miles from Hollywood, right?
Yep.
Right across the street from the University of Southern California, right? The 10 freeway goes through my neighborhood, right? On the freeway, I am 5 minutes from downtown Los Angeles.
Oh shit.
You see what I'm saying? Prime real estate. So what happened was that when restrictive covenant was struck down, okay, the lawyer's name was Lauren Miller. Lauren Miller is the name who our park is named after. The park, the 20s Park on 2717 South Halldale Avenue. That park is named Lauren Miller Park after Lauren Miller, who was the attorney that fought the case and had the covenant law struck down. But after they fought and got it struck down, the white people started leaving. See, understand something. There was no Beverly Hills. There was no affluent areas. The first millionaire enclave was in West Adams, the area that we now call the 20s. Remember what I just said? All the black celebrities was there, right?
Yep. Yes, sir.
Before they were there, the white people were there. See what I'm saying? Remember, I just said there was a covenant law. Black people couldn't buy real estate over there. So when they had the law struck down, the white people started giving up their property and started moving on to the suburbs, to the valleys, to the hills. This Beverly Hills was founded, and all these other places as affluent areas. So fast forward 2026, those black families that moved in when the covenant laws were struck down and the elders died off that originally purchased all this real estate had relatives that got, a lot of their relatives got hooked on crack cocaine that came in by way of the government. Now they hooked on crack cocaine. They not paying no mortgages. They not paying no property taxes. A lot of these houses becoming crack houses. Now the bank is foreclosing on them. Now they took the land back. You understand what I'm saying? So now from that 80% black home ownership, we dwindle down to somewhere around 8% black home ownership in 2026. You see what I'm saying? But anyway, as the cocaine came in, it escalated the situation so much that LA, the gang became small armies in Los Angeles. And it's a trip. It's so different, man. I'm telling you, man. I was here. I can tell you, I can talk about this all day, man. I'm telling you, I've seen so much of this that it's fascinating. And I'll say that because of the fact that I've seen it. I'm firsthand. My knowledge of so much of this here is like a whole nother level and a whole nother angle of things. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, it's like imagining. I watch the movies. I watch Snowfall. I watch all this. And when I be watching these movies and I watch all this, I be like, man, I remember this. I remember when they was doing that. I remember when that happened. You see what I'm saying? Because I actually was living through them experiences. I was put it like this. In 1980, I was 13 years old. The cocaine hit around maybe 81, 82. It started to escalate and really, really blow up around 83, 84. You see what I mean? When I was a kid, wasn't no homelessness. When I was a kid, wasn't no mental health crisis. You see what I'm saying? When I was a kid, wasn't no crackheads. You see what I'm saying, though? This is a reality. This is the truth right here. When I was a kid, wasn't none of that. You know, we ourselves were subjected to be the workforce because of the fact that the one thing that we lacked and we didn't have was jobs. And it was hard to get a job. I can remember in the 1980s, I was going to Jefferson High School. And I remember sitting in the classroom, and it was me and some more bloods. I was going to Jefferson High. And I remember we was in the class, and we was in there talking, and there was a homie in there, blood, and he was another blood homie. And he was like, man, fuck going to school, man. My homeboy was at the spot last night, and he made like $10,000, man. Fuck school. I'm dropping out, man. I'm finna get rich.
Oh, shit.
Real talk. But imagine this was the mentality at the time because, watch this, at Jefferson High, this was what was the type of shit that was going on around Jefferson High at that time. You had a lot of young drug dealers that had a lot of money. A lot of the gang members was making a lot of money. I'm talking about young dudes making $5,000-$10,000 a night because you know they had spots, crack houses, motherfuckers moving dope out of town. They doing whatever they do, however they do it. Man, you might go to Jefferson High, and I'm talking about no bullshit. I've seen this. I've seen at Jefferson High School where you might see some gang members come driving through in a brand new car, music beating, shit turned up, and they just throw a bag of money up in the air. Everybody, yeah, real talk. I'm telling you, this is how the money was. This is how lucrative the money was. You see what I'm saying? This is how lucrative the money was, right? But imagine what that did for recruiting gang members.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? This was a situation where there was more of us who was dropping out of school and into the streets because school, there was no instant gratification. I'm in school. I got to wait, hit the 12th grade, graduate, hope I get a job, go to college, hope I can go to college, go to trade school, do that, then maybe get a job in whatever my trade is, if I can get a job in that trade, right? Something of that nature. But When crack cocaine hit, now everybody looked up and said, "Shit, I can get rich." All I
Yeah.
do was sit back and just hold this bag and just do that and do that and do this. You know what I'm saying? And this was the motivation because money was the motivation. We didn't have an understanding. Like right now, man, I'm 58 years old, man, going on 59. And when I look around right now, I'll be saying, man, I truly regret the fact that I did sell drugs back then because I see now. I can see this long term plan. I can see this big scheme that they had because I'm looking
Mm.
at it now. Los Angeles, the last time, well, okay, the statistics. I don't know what it currently is, but I know that about 5 years ago, the statistic was LA being 13% black. Right?
Damn.
Listen to this. Listen to this. This is real. I don't know now what the statistics are, but the last time I looked at it, LA was 13% black. But you got to remember something. It's like 6 million people in LA. So to be honest with you, 6%, 13% black. There's more black people in LA than there are people in Atlanta.
What?
Well, you got to remember, what's 13% of 6 million?
Like,
Atlanta only has a little bit about 450,000 people in it.
mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So imagine 13% of 6 million. There's probably more black people in LA than there are in Atlanta, but there's a lot of everybody else also.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? But now, the last time I checked the statistic, it was LA was about 13% black. The county of Los Angeles had 65,000 homeless people, right? You want to hear the crazy part? You want to listen to this. This is the crazy part about that statistic. Watch this one. 13% black LA, right? Okay. The homeless population was 65,000, right?
Mm.
But check this out. This will blow your mind right here. 50% of that homeless population was black.
God damn.
You see what I mean when I say we under attack now?
That's a lot of damn people.
No, but listen to this though. Listen. We are only 13% of the population. But we are 1/2 of the homelessness.
Mm.
You see what I mean when I say we're under attack now?
Mm-hmm.
And you can't help but see it now. You know what I mean? I mean, it's crazy, man. You know what I mean? It's Los Angeles. That's why myself personally, I look at black people, my perspective and my views of them is something different now because of the fact that I see it now. No matter what it was in the past, no matter how it was, we all need each other now. Because whether it's red or blue, we all losing because the only one to take the loss is black.
Yep.
We're in a space where when we look at black people on overall and as a whole, man, we're looking at this to where with everything that's been afflicting us and targeting us. You go to these hoods now, these hoods ain't what they used to be. These dudes are claiming the hoods that these streets that these gangs started on, not the streets that they hanging on.
Mm-hmm.
You can't even stand in the streets of LA no more because public safety is a violation of the health and safety code for gang members to hang out on the street. See, it's a violation of the health and safety code because gang members draw bullets and that endangers the general public. See what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's kind of crazy to even think about. You know what I mean? But then when I look at it, I say black people need each other, man. I mean, like I say, it's a whole nother element here, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I've seen how it is in other places and I've seen, but like I say, there's no black community here. And there's no black community here because we're not invested in the communities. We don't own the real estate. We don't control the business. We don't control the commerce. I remember there were black communities. You know what I'm saying? Comparing to now. So you know what I mean? You got any more questions? Ask me a question. I've been talking for a long time. What else you want?
Shit. That's crazy. Let me see. Yeah, like, I mean, from what I was told, the concept of blood came from the Vietnam War.
Well, what the blacks were called themselves Bloods during Vietnam. That's what the blacks were called. They called themselves Bloods. Blood was a black word. When I was a kid, everybody said blood.
Mm,
And not on a gang related level, but everyone said blood. You know what I'm saying? And it was just the basis of unity. It was like blood brothers.
mm-hmm.
So you got to remember something. Watch this one. Blood was equated with being a soul brother. You know the soul brother, right?
No, no, sir.
Black man. We used to call
Oh,
ourselves soul brothers. Black people were not weak. I was a kid back then. But black people called themselves soul brothers. Black men called themselves soul brothers. See, I remember when black people got along. See, here you go. This is one for you right here. And this is the truth. If a person was born after 1987, they've never seen a black man. They probably never saw a black man. And I say that because in 1987, that was when Jesse Jackson made the proclamation of African American and made the proclamation of making saying that we're all African Americans. I never say I'm African American. I'm black. I was born in the 1960s. I was born during the pro-black revolutionary movements. I was born during the civil rights. I was born a year before Martin Luther King was assassinated. I was born at the time when James Brown was singing "I'm Black and I'm Proud." I was born
mm,
at the time, around the time when Stokely Carmichael and Willie Ricks were saying Black Power.
mm,
I'm black. See what I'm saying? But watch this one. My grandfather was a Negro. My father was colored. I'm black. My son is African American. Ain't that interesting?
hmm,
That's interesting, ain't it?
mm-hmm.
And I'm talking about literally on all of our birth certificates. Think about that. If you look at a birth certificate before 1987, it's going to say black, right?
Mm,
After 1987, it's going to say African American.
mm,
We're the only people, black people are the only people that they're constantly trying to redefine. But this also disenfranchises us as a people because that right there constantly makes it more and more difficult for us to get in touch with our true being and our history and our roots. You disenfranchise us. We don't want nothing to do. Black men don't want nothing to do with Africa because they made Africa seem like Africa seemed like this wild primitive place where motherfuckers run around half dressed and they fight lions and shit.
mm.
This is what, but watch this. This is what the Caucasian media has presented to us as images.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying? If you look at the world and you look at the situation of black people in the world, right? Then you look at these other people around the world that understand the plight of black people, and you'll see they sympathize. I was listening to something from the Ayatollah in Iran, and this was a long time ago. This was something I listened to that he said a long time ago. He was speaking like you know how they talk about this overly American ass shit because we too American motherfuckers don't have an understanding that the black man got a different struggle. And
Mm-hmm.
Ayatollah was saying that he sympathized with black people because he understood the plight of black people in the United States.
Mm,
It's just the same as when they went to war in Vietnam, right? In the Viet Cong, right? If they killed the black man, they're gonna put a sign. They're gonna say something. They would play James Brown in the jungle. They would say you would find shit they have signs on it. Like they would kill a soldier, they might put a sign that said, "Black man, go home. This is not your war."
mm,
We got
mm,
people that are so fucked up in the head and so over they this people are so overly Americanized that we forget who we are. That we would never be able to unify as a people because we're so easy to be divided. You got black people that cheer for Trump like Trump is their president, but you don't know how empowering he is to the white inferiorist. I don't want to say supremacist. I'm gonna say white inferiorist. But he's extremely empowering to them and to their base, and he supports their base. If you ever hear him, he will never denounce any association with any of them.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? That was proven during the debate with him and Biden. But at the same time, I look at it and I say, like black people themselves, man, we in a cold space, man, and we're so easy to be divided. It's ridiculous, man. You know what I mean? But back to what you were saying about the word blood, it represented brotherhood, man. Among us here, it represented us as brothers because it was. See, the one thing you got to understand about LA, man, it's a lot more Crips than there are Bloods in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
I remember going to jail. We was outnumbered somewhere in the area about maybe 25-1.
God damn. Oh my God.
I'm talking real talk. This is real talk. I remember we was outnumbered so much, but you got to remember. Let me tell you something that's honest, truthfully real. The west side of Los Angeles, there's only about 8 blood sets on the west side of Los Angeles. Honest and truthfully real, there's only about 8 blood sets on LA's west side. There's so many Crips, it's ridiculous. So to be a blood, you would have to have, you got to be made of something. You see what I'm saying? You enter them jails, you got to be made of something. It ain't like it was because it's more racial now in our jails than it used to be. But it was a time when it was gang banging. It was a time when it was a green light. It was damn near like saying it was a green light on all bloods that entered the county jail. See what I'm saying? It was a time when you see the Crips and it was on. You know, all those times that's changed now because, like I say, things are more racial. Black people more understand a little bit more, and we're a little more conscious of the fact that we do need each other. But there is still that gang violence existence in these spaces. You know what I'm saying? But if you trip off of now, comparing to then, back in those times, I'm talking about, man, it was wild because you think it was Crips everywhere. See, the Bloods, one thing about us as a Bloods, but we're like a community. So this is why I say that we know each other, when we spot each other, we see each other, we communicate with one another. You know what I mean? I can reach anybody in about 2 or 3 phone calls because I know somebody from that neighborhood, or I got somebody that knows somebody from that neighborhood. You see what I'm saying? You got to understand, we're geographical in Los Angeles, so we all got our own hoods. So therefore, that means that 9 times out of 10, if you're looking for somebody, you can find them walking at least one part of that territory, one space on one part of that space. You know what I mean? So all that makes a difference. You know what I'm saying? Because of the fact that that's just the way that it is. You know what I mean? Then at the same time, you know what I mean? It's wild. See, because I just did man, I just got indicted 2020. I was indicted on the RICO Act, man. It was in the it was in the papers and stuff in Georgia down there, Operation Cage Dubs. And I was indicted on the RICO Act, man. I just did from 2020 to 2025. I was locked up down there in Georgia, right? And it was really interesting to me because of the fact that I did not know that Georgia was the way that it is. I did not know that the LA gang situation was so strong down there. I didn't know that until I got there. When I got to Georgia, it was amazing to me to see all those gang members down there. Those Bloods, and I'm down here. I went to Upson County. I was in Upson County Jail, man, in Thomaston, Georgia. When they came and got me, I was abducted. You could say they made a man. They got me. They put a task force together for me, man. They came. They had like 60 officers came and got me, man. They had the LAPD Metropolitan Task Force, Metropolitan Task Force. They had the LA County Sheriffs. They had the Georgia Bureau of Investigations Gang Task Force, and they had the Federal Bureau of Investigations.
Good God.
They had an army. They took our army came and got me. I walked outside and didn't know what was going on, man. I was extradited, man, to Georgia. I was extradited, man. When I got to Georgia, it was I didn't I ain't never seen the streets of Georgia.
Mm.
Man, I'm out there and I'm in jail and I'm here, man, and it was just a trip to me because I'm looking at the people and talking to the people and they talking like, oh shit, Matt's here. This. They put me in the hole, man, my first 6 months there. I was in the hole for 6 months in Georgia. In Upson County, I was in the hole for my first 6 months in Upson County. They locked me down and isolated me for my first 6 months. I arrived there. I was arrested October 27th, 2020. I arrived in Georgia somewhere around November the 18th of 2020. I went straight to the hole on November the 18th, and I didn't get out the hole, man, until about June 20 something.
Damn.
I was in the hole for like 6 good months down there. People were coming through there, like only people I making contact with for the first 6 months was people that was in the hole with me, and they talking. Oh shit, that's Mad Ronald. Oh shit, everybody knew who I was. I was amazed because people knew who I was. When I got there, they was like, "Oh shit, that's Mad Ronald, man." You know, I didn't know the Rollin 20s was in Georgia. I didn't know they was in Georgia.
Yeah.
They got me in a space where I'm in Upson and I'm meeting guys. Rollin 20s in Georgia from down there. I'm meeting guys for Spalding Heights, the zoo crew down there. I'm meeting all these different guys. Then I got like I might have like 20, 25 co-defendants down there.
Damn.
I was on a 46-man indictment. I had 45 co-defendants. They got like, I want to say they caught like 30 of them. It was fascinating to me, man. Because I'm going to tell you what was fascinating, man. I ain't never been around GDs because, you know, we don't have GDs in California.
Oh, yeah. Yes, a lot of them in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Them was my worst enemies. It really was the Crips growing up. It was GDs. Yep.
The ones I was in jail with was cool. Honestly, everybody I came across path with down there, they was respectable and they were cool. The dudes, the GDs was cool. Everybody, even the Crips was cool. But you got to understand, the thing with me is I'm a real authentic, stamped LA dude.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I come from LA. They know already that I'm here and they know what I'm here on.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what I'm saying? And it was a trip, man. They were trying to give me 40 years, man, for nothing.
Damn.
They tried to give me 40 years for influence.
Jesus.
I ain't committed no crime. Little homie called me from jail and they listened to his phone calls. I don't know what other phone, and they got a great deal of this indictment was put together around his phone calls. I don't know what conversations they have with other people, but it ain't my business.
Mm-hmm.
But in the indictment, they trying to make it sound like we got a big old criminal conspiracy going on. When they grabbed me, man, I was working for Uber Eats at the same time. No, this is real talk. I was working for Uber Eats at the same time, man. I was running a carpet cleaning service. Before I went to jail, I owned my own business. I owned a carpet cleaning service.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
This is what I was doing to make my money. I wasn't involved with no drugs, nothing illegal. I probably was the brokest motherfucker they ever gave a RICO to. I probably the brokest motherfucker ever get charged with the RICO.
Oh, shit.
Hey, man. They had me, man. I swear to you, man. I was just amazed by it. And it was such a trip to me, man, simply because of the fact that when they grabbed me, man, they made it sound like I was John Dillinger, man. You know what I mean? They ready to shoot me and everything, man. I'm like, shit, I ain't even you motherfucker got guns. Man, when they grabbed me, man, they got me in front of my building, in front of my apartment building, man. They had shotguns, handguns, and M16s.
God damn.
Man, they came for me, man. They didn't come for me. They came for the notorious Mad Ronald. That's who they came for. They didn't come for me. They were looking for another motherfucker.
Damn.
They got a motherfucker who was been up all night long delivering food. You know what I mean? I was 20, but they got me. I was 53 years old. I ain't done no hustling since shit. '06. I ain't been in the street. Don't even carry a gun. You know what I'm saying?
Damn.
But what I've learned is influence is something, man, because of the fact that they're gonna use that against you sometimes. You know what I mean, man? And it's interesting to me because I met some people down there, and it was fascinating to me. You know, I was in the system, and it was crazy to me because in Georgia, I was inside the system. There's a difference from going somewhere and being in the streets and doing something and going to jail. It's a whole nother world when they come to LA and snatch you up and take you to Georgia. I'm in Georgia. I don't even know what the streets look like. Motherfuckers in there talking about the Piggly Wiggly and all this other shit. I don't even know that. I ain't never in my life been in a goddamn Piggly Wiggly. This is the conversation that I don't know that nobody talking about. You know what I'm saying? But it was fascinating to me, man. You know, but it's a total difference because Bloods down there, they beef with each other more than they beef with anybody else.
I know. Yep.
That was the trip. Now watch this. I'm from New York. I was born in New York. I'm from Rochester, New York, upstate. Right? I used to be in New York City when I lived in New York from 2004 to 2006. I lived in Rochester, New York, and I lived in New Jersey. I used to be in New York City every day because you know that New Jersey is like maybe 30 minutes away from New York City.
Yeah.
I used to be in New York every day. I used to be in New York all the time. And I used to trip down there because there was a different situation down there because they was on the thing and the element and the thing about them was that their biggest enemies were each other.
Yeah, blood on blood, yeah.
In LA, we don't really, even though there's that kind of violence that takes place, it got to be something personal that creates it. We don't have the natural instinct to victimize one another. If you go to jail here, you don't go to jail and take that shit with you. You don't go to jail. Let's say if my hood is beefing with another blood hood, right? I go to jail. I don't go to jail set tripping on nobody that's from them neighborhoods because the homies ain't going for that. See, ain't nobody bigger than the program, and the car ain't gonna have it.
Yeah, I know the car. Yep.
The car ain't gonna have it. The B car ain't gonna have that. So they gonna tell you ain't none of that going down up in here. We know what y'all do out there, but it don't happen up here. We all stick together. We all need each other. This is just what it is. Just how it is. You know, really, when you go to jail nowadays, considering the blacks, you know, if there's any issues, they gonna squabble up and get it out the way. Their business, but they not killing each other. You know what I mean? But at the same time, if it's internal among the homies, it ain't happening. They're not letting it go down. And it's just a trip because of the fact that when I was back east, man, that's all they talked about more than anything else was their own beef with each other. See, something is different between the South and the East and the West. In the West, we don't G-check.
Oh, yeah.
So there's no G-checking in the West Coast. There is no situation of worrying about how somebody else doing their thing. Is he official? He's not. Because if you come from that hood got to be worried about you.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? We all live among each other. When I was in jail, if I ran into someone and they said, "Hey, man, I'm from the 20s. I don't know," and I don't know them, I'm gonna ask them, "What's your address?" You would tell me your address. I'm gonna get on the phone. I'm gonna find somebody. Once again, they go to 3 phone calls. I'm gonna find somebody that lived on your street. What's your address? You live on the 2600 block of what you said, Hobart? Wait, let me get on the phone. Hey, where whoop at the state on Hobart? Hey, you know this dude, man, that said he lived down by the alley down there, man, across the street from the market. Yeah, that's the little bad. That's the little bad dude down there. Had to find sisters. We used to all be at the house. Oh, okay, he up here with me.
Oh shit.
You feel what I'm saying? But if you're from the community, I can find out who you are. Down there, everyone's not geographically connected. See what I'm saying? They don't have the cohesion that we have down here.
Yeah.
from so many different spaces and so many places. Coming out of the jails, they do a lot of recruiting where they don't even know the people who they are, or they never knew who the people were in the streets. Opposite of us, we know who we are because when I go to jail, I'm just looking for the homies.
Mm-hmm.
When I pull up, there's gonna be a rep. See, it's a difference. I'm gonna show you another difference between LA I seen difference between LA and Georgia.
Hey, OG, I got I ain't gonna lie, I'm in a I just had surgery. I'm in a nursing facility. I gotta go get my medicine right quick.
Okay.
I'm gonna download this on YouTube, but I gotta go grab this, and then after I'm done, I'm gonna send you the link and I'm inbox you.
Okay, for sure. Let me know if you need to do more.
All right, yeah, we gonna have to do a part 2 too, man. Probably like tomorrow or something.
Okay.
And matter of fact, so yeah, we'll do a part 2. Like, know what I'm saying? Because I gotta go grab my medicine.
Okay, for sure. There ain't no thing. We can figure something out. We just gotta do it on one of my days when I ain't working. Because I work tomorrow night, but we can collaborate on it, man. Just hit me up and we'll figure something out. All
right, yeah, I'll see the link to this when I'm get done, but I gotta go do this and then I gotta come back and edit it and stuff like that.
For sure. All right, handle your business, homie.
All right, man. Good talking to you, man.
All right, for sure. Hey, I'm gonna send you my socials and stuff to put on it, to put with the link.
All right,
when you put it up, I'll send my socials to you on Facebook.
Got you. All right,
homie. Be safe.
Yes, man. Yep, you too.
All right.